interesting fireside chat lined up for you on successful digital innovation initiatives. How can we really make sure that digital innovation is a top priority to help differentiate future business models? All this and a lot more from our speakers from across the globe. I'd like to present to you Mr. Nicolas, Bürer, Managing Director at Digital Switzerland. We'll also soon be joined by Ms. Anita, Krohn, Traaseth, member, European Innovative Council Advisory Board. And moderating the session is going to be Mr. Jayant, Saran, partner, Deloitte. I'd like to thank Deloitte for being our knowledge partners. Let's look forward to this very interesting conversation and questions from our audience. Over to you, Mr. Saran.
Well, thank you very much, Isha, and good morning to everyone. We are still 4 minutes away from noon, so good morning to everyone. And to Nicolas for being part of this conversation. Thank you very much, Nicolas. Now, just before we get into, a dialogue with Nicolas, I just wanted to, sort of set a context in terms of how innovation today is front and center as an agenda item for most organizations. It's part of their entire strategic initiatives. However, what as a consultant I have seen and what perhaps we've observed in our own organizations as well, is that the secret sauce is in the execution of this entire innovation agenda. So without further ado, I'm going to throw my first question to Nicolas. Nicolas, in your experience, and you've had a long, distinguished career looking at it, you're chairing innovation in your space. How have you created an environment of successful innovation in your workspaces? Because that's, while everyone talks about innovation, while everyone wants to innovate, wants to come up with things, creating successful innovation is a secret in some form, right? So how have you managed it and how have you done this?
Thank you very much for inviting me here. Good morning or good day, everyone. It's a great question. I will start on the following one. Switzerland is a tiny village. We're very small compared to our countries around Europe, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and of course, your country and another big country, Canada, US, etc. So we are a tiny village. And the first rule I really believed, and I'm convinced, in order to have a successful hub, is not to do what we call digital everything. You cannot be good in everything. It's impossible when you're so small. So the first one is, and it takes time, of course, in the ecosystem, is choose your battle, choose your topics. You cannot do everything. We will never be Palo Alto. We will never be as strong as the biggest ecosystem in Asia. No chance. So let's choose some topics. I take and redo history, as we say in Switzerland. Switzerland is very good in pharma, is very good in industrial, in banking, cheese, chocolate, tourism, etc. So it's 6 topics and not 25. So that's really the first, in my opinion, success point is choose your topics. And digital is very broad. Everything is digital. Everything will be digital, and you cannot do everything. So that's for me the first rule in order to successfully implement a digital innovation hub, as we try to do in Switzerland.
No, super. So I think that's a very interesting point you've made there, because generally what we see is in the enthusiasm to innovate, innovation is driven as an item where everyone needs to come up with ideas. And like you mentioned, we've got just at the risk of naming a company, someone like 3M, who's possibly brought in more innovative products than most companies that I know of. And right from your Post-it notes to stickies, which started off, more as making life simpler for yourself. And that's a little away from digital innovation. But are you saying that we need to control innovation? Not everyone innovates. We find pools of people that are going to focus on this. In your experience, so while you choose your battles in terms of areas, do you also choose your people?
I love what you said, and I believe innovation is top down and bottom up. And you need 2 extremely important group of stakeholders. There are innovative people, talents. There is a war for talents worldwide, no question about that. And you need the government. Give you 2 examples where Switzerland, I really believe, will be strong, very strong. Even in 10 years, they might be the next pharma or banking of the country. The first one is everything about decentralized ledger, blockchain. We have a really vibrant ecosystem. And the second one is everything around drones. Drones for B2B, we really have amazing drones companies in the country right now, and many coming from abroad. And why? Because on one side, we have the talent, the people, immigration. We need immigration, like everyone, you know, of talented people. It's really the case. You need to bring the people together. You build an ecosystem. And the second point is the regulation. Drones, you know, it's a regulated market. You cannot fly over where you want in the country. Never, of course, close to an airport, but still in the rest of the country. And the regulation in Switzerland is liberal. You can fly really all around the country, pretty much. And many startups from abroad are coming here to test the drones, and they stay, they open an office, etc., etc. And that's the way I really believe. And if you look at Israel, just to give one example, 30 years ago, they started on the same way, a small innovation hub, and the government. And the government said, we will invest 300 to 400 millions in our tech program. You need both. We do the same right now in the country. If you only have an innovative government, but not talent or no innovative startups or corporates, it's nice, but it's not going to be enough. And if you have a vibrant ecosystem, but the government don't want you or don't give you the liberal regulation to operate, the hub will fail and the people will go away. You really need both, in my opinion, to have an excellent ecosystem.
No, super. You know, I think very interesting point you've made there, Nicolas, about the role of the government. I think that's, you know, while, you know, private enterprise may want to do everything that they do, the government needs to support that ecosystem. So if, you know, and I know I may be asking you to go out on a limb here, but, you know, what are those 2 or 3 things that you think your government would have done very well to support, you know, to support innovation? Because, you know, I guess there are some learnings there as well, right? I mean, both from a regulatory government perspective, as well as perhaps some lessons that corporates can draw from that as well.
And a good question, by the way. And it's not easy for a government to support innovation. We should not forget, innovation is about disruption, and it creates new jobs and it kills, sorry for the expression, current jobs. So for a government, you know, which have lobbying all around it of existing industries, as I see, it's not easy, by the way, to really support innovation. Now, if you believe jobs will disappear anyway, which is the case, and other jobs will come, you really need to support innovations. The first one is definitely, and it seems simple, but it's speaking about it, you know, having a support function, an official function in the ecosystem, having a prime minister. In Switzerland, we call them the federal councillors, going to conferences on stage, doing a press release, a press conference, and saying, yes, we support Switzerland as a home for drones. It seems to be easy, but in many countries, they even don't do it. They will tell you, you know, behind the door, yes, yes, we support you, but if they don't do it officially, it's not the same weight. So I believe it's really the first one, having an exchange and having an official support of a government representative on the level of a minister. The second one, and we are not there yet in Switzerland, by the way, other countries are doing it already, is having financial support. It's all about money at the end of the day. And there are some countries, Germany has started a nice program. Israel, I mentioned it already a long time ago. You know, they invest even from a fund in the startup ecosystem. The second rule, and it's a complicated one, again, due to different forces and lobbying in the country. The second point is, let's say, the second one. And the third one, and on this one, we are back, as I would say, good again in Switzerland, and is giving the ecosystem the right regulation. You know, if you block, if you forbid blockchain, or if you forbid drones to fly higher than 10 meters, they won't come to us. if you allow the drones to fly up to 120 meters and far away from the airport up to kilometers, which is not the case in the US, for example, then they will come and test in Switzerland. It's very easy. So you need really the free official support, financial means, and the right regulations. The third one is a trigger, I would say, to have a vibrant ecosystem.
Oh, great insights there, because yeah, when you were talking about the drones, I was just thinking in terms of, the height that they're permitted to fly, considering in a lot of places, let's say in a country like India, we've got, condominium complexes, high-rise buildings. Naturally there has to be some leeway in terms of how high a drone can fly if it is supposed to do deliveries or anything else of that sort, to change the supply chain system. So let me change tracks a bit now, Nicolas, and let me just ask you in terms of long-term innovation, right? Is it possible in today's changing environment, and it changes for a variety of reasons. There's technological change, there are changes brought about, by what's happened to our life in the last 2 years or last year and a half because of the pandemic. All of a sudden everything has changed for us there. So there is a lot of changes that happen in the environment. Is it really possible to anticipate long-term change and long-term success or long-term innovation, therefore? Or what could work or what is worthwhile?
Yeah, the best way to anticipate is prevention, So act and don't react. And you see that by corporates and governments, the one who were more digitized, more innovative, and I'm sorry to say that, but they went even better in this absolutely tragedy of the last 2 years. They were even better because they anticipated, they were digitized, they had the right infrastructure, to have everyone working from home. They had already everything digitized in the communication with the customers, etc., etc. And the companies who were not there yet, they suffered. They suffered. So, no, I think it's for every one of us. It's the last 18 months, beside the pandemic itself, is showing again, anticipate, think ahead, be innovative, go digitized. We speed up the digitization process in the world up to 10 years. Now we do video conference. 2 or 3 years ago, you will have asked me to come on site, and having someone on a video conference will be a bit strange, weird, And today it's normal. And that's just one example. And doing the same in everything we do in life, and working from home, working in a co-working space, it's normal today. 2 years ago, it was not normal, was the exception. And it's the new world. And go digitized. There is no way back. Let's face it, there is no way back. We won't go back to the situation before. The world is getting hybrid in everything we do. Analog and digital, not only digital, that's important. And home office and office and, and more flexibility, that's the new world. And get digitized in the way you interact with the customers. If you don't, there will be many new startups and many new tech companies, and they might put your business in danger. I'm convinced.
No, I think I completely concur with you on that. The level of change that we have seen, adoption of new technologies. So as a consultant, very often when we would talk about something that would seem futuristic to clients maybe 2 years ago, has suddenly become present and now for them in terms of decisions, in terms of what they've adopted. A thought would be that, is it by design or by accident? We don't know. I think a bit of both. What I'm going to do is ask you for what is it that you need to watch out for? Because we've talked about what is it that we must do. What are things that we need to watch out for? What could be pitfalls? What could go wrong? In a scenario where, or in our enthusiasm or urge to innovate, to digitize, any things that you would have seen in your experience, anything that you may have observed?
So if there is one thing to watch out, is everything around cybersecurity and data. Because innovating, being digital, being more convenient for your customers, for your employees, all good. Having drones flying, having automated cars, it's fun. But let's be careful about cybersecurity. I believe that the surface of attack is exploding because the connections are exploding. And we see, like in Switzerland, in Europe, and big companies being hacked, and quite easily, and without them knowing it for weeks or months. And I think there is the biggest danger to watch out for governments, by the way, too, and companies is cyber war. I believe this one is a danger, beside, of course, everything around sustainability and the environment. Hopefully we'll make it on a good way in the next couple of years. The next one is, for me, everything around cyber war and protection of data. We should not forget, we should protect our data. I think they are the biggest danger for corporates, startups. They can do many mistakes on it, and governments in general.
Okay, so let me put a slightly controversial spin to this. Then we are increasing digitization. We are creating new solutions, new products where you don't interact. Data interacts between people. You don't interact with people one-on-one. It's basically data between the two of you. Now, with emerging regulations, and you mentioned data protection, you mentioned cyber war. Now, with emerging regulations across the globe, you've got the GDPR in Europe, you've got privacy laws in other parts of the world. Do you think that is helping innovation at times, or is it really putting a speed breaker on innovation? If you look at some of the regulations around privacy, around data protection, etc.
Yes, this is a speed breaker, but this is okay, because otherwise it will be too wide. Let's face it. If you just innovate for innovating, for disrupting, without taking into account some rules like data protection, it will be wild west. So I believe it's okay to have some regulations, to take into account. At the end of the day, we're humans. We have some rights, and you don't have the right to sell my data. That's it. Just like that, without letting me know. And I think we need regulations for sure. We've seen in the last 5 years some really bad examples, how to treat the data, how to treat customers, treat the humans on a digital way. And I believe it's fine. So innovation is already going very quick. If you compare with the first, second, third revolution, some decades or centuries ago, it's already going extremely fast. And I'm okay to have these regulations because it will be too wide.
So the thought is controlled innovation in some form.
Yeah, innovate, but still respect your customers and some rules. Like in the blockchain, we've done many mistakes, like everywhere. When you have flying drones, you don't want to have accidents. You don't want to have the drones falling off on the head of people. Just so you need to respect some rules, and I believe that's correct in the way we innovate. That's something we have to respect.
Yeah, but very often don't the rules follow the innovation? Because very often when you see the innovation happens first and the rules follow. So when you're talking about a drone falling on someone's head, it's only when the drone falls on someone's head is when the rule would come in, right? If data is appropriated or accessed and sold is when the rule would come in, right? So in a lot of cases, is it that the rules and regulations follow innovation because they can't really go in parallel, right?
Absolutely agree. Innovation will always be the driving force, and the rules are coming later on. I just believe the rules needs to be early enough, not to go too wide. We've seen already many examples of being too wide in innovation, and then after we have to take it back or even stop it. So it's a game. It's a game parallel, having innovative people, having the right rules. But I agree with you. Innovative people are always first. Sometimes hackers are even before, and they even know what they have to do ahead. So that's there. We have to see how the future will continue.
No, super. Nicolas, thank you so much. I think we've used up the time that was allocated to us. Any last thoughts from you before we close the session?
No, thank you very much. It was interesting. Very happy to engage in future discussions between our countries, of course, and ecosystem. In any case, there will be hundreds, if not thousands, of small ecosystems in the world. And I believe, again, the rules are clear. You need regulations. You need a strong government. You need talents. That's the way to go. You need to choose your topics. That's my recommendations for every ecosystem. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Nicolas, for a very, very insightful session. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope we can continue this conversation on other platforms in person at some point.
Thank you very much for inviting.
No, thank you again. Thank you very much. And thank you to ET. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Jayant, Saran, and a big thank you to Mr. Nicolas Bürer for sparing his time, sharing with us how things in Switzerland work. And like you very rightly said, both countries need to work together as far as technology and digital goes. So once again, a big thank you to both of you for joining us. Our apologies, Miss Anita Krohn Traaseth couldn't be a part of this session, but she sends her best wishes and looks forward to interacting with our audience sometime soon. Once again, as I thank our speakers, I'd like to inform all our guests right here that we have a very interesting special address lined up for all of you in a bit. Digital as a core capability, connecting business to deliver value. Very soon, I'll be inviting our guest speaker right here. But till then, may I welcome all of you to join us in the Experience Zone, connect with our partners in the partner booths. You're also welcome to be a part of our very special startup segment zone. So please do go, enjoy yourselves right there, network, meet peers from the industry. There's a lot of fun out there. And do remember, we have some very exciting gift vouchers worth 5,000 rupees from ET Edge for being active participation. So let's have those questions rolling in, and let's see all those comments on your social media. Do remember to tag us using our hashtag. A lot more on the other side of this little break.
The world is changing at a pace never seen before. In today's dynamic business environment, the future is difficult to predict. Today, organizations must hasten their journey to reinvent themselves, to become a digital enterprise, to be more relevant to their customers, be agile and provide superior customer experience by reskilling their resources to be ready for the next normal. With over 17 plus years of CX transformation leadership, we are Connect, among top 2 CLM and BPM player, a 100% subsidiary of Quest Corp, India's largest business services provider. With consistent high NPS, we are a trusted and reliable partner to more than 200 customers in India. We are a trusted partner for top 8 public sector banks, top 3 private sector banks, top 5 utility companies, Asia's largest telecom and DTH players, and all major e-commerce companies, government citizen services and leading unicorns in India. We serve our customers with our innovative products and services for enhanced agility and growth from our 22+ delivery locations. Connect has digital competency centers on CX transformation, automation, platforms, data and insights, cybersecurity, and cloud. These are powered by partnerships with focus on building accelerators and solutions. To help customers in their modernization journey in becoming digital enterprises, we use our business process experience to drive automation and reimagine newer ways of working. We leverage our technology partners. We re-engineer systems and modernize tech landscape, set up scalable DevSecOps. We provide best-in-class services through our business process platforms. As your trusted partner, we can transform CX through newer technology platforms and CLM services, drive efficiencies on enterprise F&A and back office, automate BFSI mid-office functions, own collections, leverage insights from operations to build data platforms and drive sustainable growth and profitability. Our family of 35,000 plus associates combined with industry best practices made us part of India's top 100 best places to work. We are Connect, exclusively India first, digital first transformation partner. Let's get connected.